And now, Andrew Does Everything proudly presents Cinderella, based on the story of Cinderella. Once upon a time, there lived a young girl named Cinderella. Cinderella had 3 ugly, mean stepsisters named Olive, Nina, and Esme. Olive, Nina, and Esme made Cinderella do all the chores. Sweep the floors, wash the dishes, said Olive, Nina, and Esme. One day, the king of Onlyville's messenger said, hear ye, the king of Onlyville is going to throw a ball. And whoever has the most beautiful gown and crown shall marry his son, Prince Singling. But Cinderella is not welcome. Her stepsisters are. Olive said, he's going to marry me. Nina said, no way, Olive. He's going to marry me. Esme said, both of you are wrong. He's going to marry me. Later, Cinderella is so sad that she cannot go to the ball and marry Prince Singling. Suddenly, her fairy godmother arrives and asks Cinderella what is wrong. Why are you crying, Cinderella? She asks. Cinderella responds, I wanted her to go to the ball and marry Prince Singling. But I'm not welcome. The fairy godmother waved her wand and chanted the magic word, Winnity, Waterity, one! And then, Cinderella's chores are all done. But the fairy godmother is not done yet. She said, Cinderella, go fetch me a good old pumpkin. Luckily, Cinderella has one pumpkin. The fairy godmother waved her magic wand and chanted the magic word, Winnity, Waterity, one! Again, and to turn Cinderella's do-rag and clothes into a gown. I've never seen such a wonderful gown. I get a load of my glass slippers, and then the pumpkin into a coach drawn by 2 strong horses. The fairy godmother said, have fun, Cinderella, but I will warn you, return home before midnight, or the spell will be broken. Cinderella accepted the warning. Meanwhile, at the ball, Prince Singling was wondering who he should marry. Olive, Nina, and Esme said all together, he's walking towards me. But he's not walking towards any of them. He's walking towards Cinderella. Cinderella and Prince Singling dance happily together. But later, Cinderella realized it's almost midnight. So she scurried out of the ball, and she was running so fast that she lost one of her glass slippers. Prince Singling was so worried that he might never see Cinderella again. So he traveled around Onlyville to find her and brought the glass slipper with him. He knocked on the door of the house where her Cinderella and her stepsisters lived. He said, ladies, I have a favor to ask. Can any of you try this glass slipper? Olive is first, but her foot is too big. Nina is next, but her foot is too small. Esme is last, but her foot didn't fit either. Suddenly, Prince Singling noticed Wonderella singing. Wonderella said, Prince Singling, is that you? Prince Singling said, of course it's me. Wonderella gets so excited because she's having to have her Prince Singling back. And they lived happily ever after. The end. I hope you enjoyed this story before bed enters doors. And don't forget to subscribe, like, and share to my video. Take care. Bye and good night, everybody. Andrew's Doers. Andrew Does Everything proudly presents Cinderella. It is based on the story of Cinderella. Let's tell you the story, shall we? Once upon a time, there lived a young girl named Cinderella. Cinderella had 3 ugly, mean stepsisters named Tina, Winona, and Una. Tina, Winona, and Una made Cinderella do all the chores. Sweep the floors, wash the dishes, do it all, said Tina, Winona, and Una all together. One day, the king of Doubleburg's messenger said, Hear ye, the king of Doubleburg, his majesty, is going to throw a ball, and whoever has the most beautiful gown and cross shall marry his son, Prince Twinning. But Cinderella is not welcome. Her stepsister, Tina said, he's going to marry me. Winona said, no way, Tina, he's going to marry me. Una said, both of you are wrong, he's going to marry me. Later, Cinderella is very sad that she cannot go to the ball and marry Prince Twinning. And her fairy godmother asks Cinderella what's wrong by saying, why are you crying, Cinderella? Cinderella responds, and sadly, I wanted to go to the ball and marry Prince Twinning. Her fairy godmother said, I can help with a bit of double magic. She waves her magic wand and chants the magic words, dibbly dabbly dobbly doo. And all of Cinderella's chores are done, but the fairy godmother is not done yet. She said, Cinderella, fetch me a pumpkin. Luckily, Cinderella has 2 pumpkins. The fairy godmother waves her magic wand and chants the magic words, dibbly dabbly dobbly doo. Again, turning the 2 pumpkins into a handsome coach drawn by 2 strong horses, and then Cinderella's clothes into a gown and crown. I've never seen such a double-tasted gown. And get a lot of my glass slippers. Cinderella is now ready for the ball. Her fairy godmother said, have fun, Cinderella, but I would warn you. Return home before midnight, or the spell will be broken. Cinderella accepted the warning. Meanwhile, at the ball, Prince Twinning was wondering who he should marry. Cinderella, of course. Tina, Winona, and Una shout out together, he's walking towards me! But he's not. But he is walking towards Cinderella. Cinderella and Prince Twinning danced happily together. But later, Cinderella realized it's almost midnight, so she scurried out of the ball. And she was running so fast that she lost both her glass slippers. Prince Twinning was so worried, afraid that she might never see Cinderella again. So he traveled all around Doubleburg to find her, and brought the 2 glass slippers with him. He knocked on the door where Cinderella, Tina, Winona, and Una lived. But instead of Cinderella, he found Tina, Winona, and Una. Ladies, I have a favor to ask. Can any of you try on these 2 glass slippers? Prince Twinning asks. Tina is first, but her feet are too big. Winona is next, but her feet are too small. Una is last, but her feet are on the right size of her. Suddenly, Prince Twinning noticed Tuarella's sweet singing. Tuarella shouts excited, "Prince Twinning, is that you?" Prince Twinning responded, "Of course it's me. You are from my father's ball. I love you. Will you marry me?" Tuarella gets so excited because he's happy to have Prince Twinning back. And they both lived happily ever after. The end. I hope you enjoyed this story, Andrews Doers. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share, and buy our merchandise. Take care. Bye. Oh, yeah. And now, Andrew Does Everything proudly presents Cinderella. It is based on the story of Cinderella. Ready to hear it, Andrews Doers? Here goes. Once upon a time, there lived a young girl named Cinderella. Cinderella had 5 ugly, mean stepsisters named Tasha, Hannah, Rena, and the twins Ellie and Emmy. Tasha, Hannah, Rena, Ellie, and Emmy made Cinderella do all the chores. "Sweep the floors, wash the dishes, do it all," said Tasha, Hannah, Rena, Ellie, and Emmy all together. One day, the king of Tripleville's messengers said, "Hear ye, hear ye, the king of Tripleville is going to throw a ball, and whoever has the most beautiful gown and crown shall marry his son, Prince Tripling." But Cinderella is not welcome. Her stepsisters are. Tasha said, "He's going to marry me." Hannah said, "No way, Tasha, you're wrong. He's going to marry me." Rena said, "Both of you are wrong. He's going to marry me." Ellie said, "All 3 of you are wrong. He's going to marry me." Emmy said, "Are you kidding, twin sister? He's going to marry me." Later, Cinderella is so sad because she cannot go to the ball and marry Prince Tripling. Suddenly, Cinderella's fairy godmother asks her what's wrong by saying, "Why are you crying, Cinderella?" Cinderella then responds, "I can't go to the ball and marry Prince Tripling." The fairy godmother said, "I can help with a bit of magic." She waves her magic wand and chants the magic words, "Triply, tropply, tropply, true." And then Cinderella's chores are all done, but her fairy godmother is not done yet. He said, "Cinderella, go fetch me a good old pumpkin." Luckily, Cinderella has 3 pumpkins. The fairy godmother waves her magic wand and chants the magic words, "Triply, tropply, tropply, true," again, and to turn the 3 pumpkins into a handsome coat drawn by 6 strong horses. And then Cinderella's do-rag red dress into a gown and crown. Cinderella said, "I've never seen such a triple-tastic gown. And get a load of my glass slippers." Cinderella's fairy godmother said, "Have fun, Cinderella, but I would warn you. Return home before midnight, or the spell will be broken and everything will change back to the way it was before." Cinderella accepted the warning. Meanwhile, at the ball, Prince Tripling was wondering who he should marry. Tasha, Hannah, Rena, Ella, and Emmy say all together, "He's walking towards me." But he's not walking towards any of them. But he is walking towards Cinderella. Cinderella and Prince Tripling dance happily together. But later, Cinderella realizes it's almost midnight, so she scurried out of the ball, and she was running so fast that she lost one of her glass slippers. Prince Trembling was so worried, afraid that he might never see Furorella again. So he traveled around Troubleville to find her and brought the glass slipper with him. He knocked on the door of the house where Furorella and her ugly, mean stepsisters lived. But instead of Furorella, he finds Tasha, Hannah, Rena, Ellie, and Emmy, and said, "Ladies, I have a favor to ask. Can any of you try on this glass slipper?" Tina first, Hannah second, Rena third, and the twins last, but none of their feet fit. Suddenly, Prince Trembling notices Furorella singing. She exclaimed, "Prince Trembling, is that you?" Prince Trembling then said, "Of course it's me." Furorella gets so excited because she's happy to have Prince Trembling back. And he doesn't need to put the glass slipper back on Furorella's foot because it's so uncomfortable. And then they both lived happily ever after. The end. And Andrew's yours. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share on Andrew Does Everything and buy our merchandise, etc. Take care. Bye. And now, Andrew Does Everything proudly presents Furorella. It is based on the story of Cinderella. What? Let's tell you the story, shall we? Once upon a time, there lived a young girl named Furorella. Furorella had 4 ugly, mean stepsisters named Fiona, Ophelia, Ursula, and Ramona. Fiona, Ophelia, Ursula, and Ramona made Furorella do all the chores. Sweep the floors. Wash the dishes. Do it all. Said Fiona, Ophelia, Ursula, and Ramona all together. One day, the king and Quadrillihan's messengers said, "Hear ye, hear ye! The king of Quadrillihan is going to throw a ball, and whoever has the most beautiful gown and crown shall marry his son, Prince Forting." But Furorella is not welcome. Her stepsisters are. "He's going to marry me," said Fiona. Ophelia said, "No way, Fiona! He's going to marry me." Ursula said, "Both of you are wrong! He's going to marry me." Ramona said, "All 3 of you are wrong! He's going to marry me." Later, Furorella is so sad because she can't go to the ball and marry Prince 14, while her fairy godmother asks her what's wrong by saying, "Why are you crying, Furorella?" Furorella responds, "I got lots of chores to be done. I can't go to the ball and marry Prince 14. Furorella's fairy godmother said, "I can help with a bit of magic." Furorella's fairy godmother chants the magic words, "Quiddity, quaddity, quaddity, quoo," and waves her magic wand. Because of that, all of Furorella's chores are all done. But Furorella's fairy godmother is not done yet. She said, "Furorella, go fetch me a pumpkin." Luckily, Furorella has 4 pumpkins. Furorella's fairy godmother said, and then chants the magic words, "Quiddity, quaddity, quaddity, quoo," and waves her magic wand to turn the 4 pumpkins into a handsome coach drawn by 8 strong horses. And then Furorella's clothes into a gathered crowd. Furorella said, "I've never seen such a quadtastic gown." and get a lot of my glass slippers. Her fairy godmother said, have fun, mighty Cinderella. But I would warn you, return home before midnight, or the spell will be broken, and everything will turn back to the way it was before. Cinderella accepted the warning. Meanwhile, at the ball, Prince Martin was wondering who he should marry. Fiona, Ophelia, Ursula, and Ramona said all together, he's walking towards me! But he's not walking towards any of them. He's walking towards Cinderella. Cinderella and Prince 14 dance happily together. But later, Cinderella realizes it's midnight, so she scurried out of the ball. And she was running so fast that she lost both her glass slippers. Prince 14 was so worried that he might never see Cinderella again. So he traveled all around Quadroon to find her. I brought the 2 tiny glass slippers with him. He knocked on the door of the home where Cinderella and her stepsisters live, but instead of Cinderella, he finds Fiona, Ophelia, Ursula, and Ramona. He then said, ladies, I have a favor to ask. Can you try on these glass slippers? Fiona is first, but her feet are too big. Ophelia said, but her feet are too small. Ursula and Ramona did the same thing, but their feet don't fit either. Suddenly, Prince 14 notices Cinderella's sweet singing. The glass slippers fit! Cinderella gets so excited because she's happy to have her Prince 14 back. And they both lived happily ever after. The end. I hope you enjoyed this story. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share on Andrew Does Everything. And if you want to see some sequels, tell your friends about it. And then, take care, Andrew Stores. Bye. And now, Andrew Does Everything proudly presents Cinderella, based on the story of Cinderella. Andrew's Doors, I hope you enjoyed it. Once upon a time, there lived a young girl named Cinderella. Cinderella had four ugly, mean stepsisters. Fiona, Isabella, Verona, and Ella. Fiona, Isabella, Verona, and Ella made Cinderella do all the chores. Sweep the floors, wash the dishes, do it all, said Fiona, Isabella, Verona, and Ella. One day, the king of Fivingham's messenger said, hear ye, the king of Fivingham is going to throw a ball, and whoever has the most beautiful gown and crown shall marry his son, Prince Quintabling. But Cinderella is not welcome. Her stepsisters are. Fiona said, he's going to marry me. Isabel said, no way, Fiona. He's going to marry me. Verona said, both of you are wrong. He's going to marry me. Ella said, all 3 of you are wrong. He's going to marry me. Later, Cinderella is so sad that she cannot go to the ball, and marry Prince Quintupling. Suddenly, her fairy godmother asks, why are you crying, Cinderella? Cinderella responds, I got a lot of chores to be done. I can't go to the ball and marry Prince Quintupling. The fairy godmother said, I can help with a bit of magic. Quantity, quantity, woo! The fairy godmother's magic did all the chores and then turned Fiverella's do-rag and ribbed dress into a gown and crown. Fiverella said, "I've never seen such a fantastic dress! And get a load of my glass slippers." But she's not done yet. The fairy godmother said, "Fetch me. Fiverella, go fetch me a good old pumpkin." Luckily, Fiverella has 5 pumpkins, and the fairy godmother turned the 5 pumpkins into a handsome coach. It's drawn by 10 strong horses. The fairy godmother said, "Have fun, Fiverella, but I would warn you, return home before midnight, or the spell will be broken." Fiverella accepted the warning. Meanwhile, at the ball, Prince Quintone said, "Who should I marry?" Fiona, Isabella, Verona, and Ella said all together, "He's walking towards me." Well, he's not walking towards any of them, but Prince Quintupling is walking towards Fiverella. Fiverella and Prince Quintupling danced happily together. But later, Fiverella realized it's almost midnight, so she scurried out of the ball. And when she was running so fast, she lost one of her glass slippers. Prince Quintupling was so worried that she might never see Fiverella again. So he traveled all around Fivingham to find her, bringing the tiny glass slipper with him. He knocked on the door where Fiverella and her 4 ugly mean stepsisters live. Prince Quintone said to her stepsisters, Ladies, I have a favor to ask. Can any of you try on this glass slipper?" Fiona is first, but her foot is too small. Isabella is next, but her foot is too big. Fiona and Verona and Ella are last, but neither of the feet match. Suddenly, Prince Quintupling noticed Fiverella's sweet singing. "Prince Quintupling, is that really you?" "Of course it's me, Fiverella." Fiverella is so excited because she's happy to have her Prince Quintupling back. And they all lived happily ever after. The end. And take care, Andrew's Doers. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. Bye. And now, Andrew's Doers. Andrew's Everything proudly presents Cinderella. It is based on the story of Cinderella. Let's tell you the story, shall we? Once upon a time, there was a young girl named Cinderella. Cinderella had 3 ugly, mean stepsisters named Sophia, Isabella, and Xavier. Sophia, Isabella, and Xavier made Cinderella do all the chores. Sweep the floors, wash the dishes, do it all, said Sophia, Isabella, and Xavier all together. Then one day, the king of Sextuplinham's messenger said, Hear ye, the king of Sextuplingham is going to throw a ball, and whoever has the most beautiful gown and crown shall marry his son, Prince Sextupling. But Cinderella is not welcome. Her stepsisters are. Sophia said, He's going to marry me. Isabella said, No way, Sophia, you're wrong. He's going to marry me. Xavier said, both of you are wrong. He's going to marry me. Later, Cinderella is so sad doing chores while her fairy godmother asks her what's wrong by saying, why are you crying, Cinderella? Cinderella responds, I have lots of chores to be done, but I can't go to the ball and marry Princess Toppling. Her fairy godmother said, I can help with a bit of magic. Cinderella's fairy godmother waves her magic wand. Because of the 600 chores are all done. But her fairy godmother is not done yet. She said, Cinderella, go fetch me a pumpkin. Luckily, Cinderella has 6 pumpkins. Cinderella's fairy godmother waves her magic wand again to turn the 6 pumpkins into a handsome coach. And then drawn by 5 strong horses, and then Cinderella's clothes into a gown and crown. Cinderella said, I've never seen such a sextuple-tastic gown, and get a load of my glass slippers. Fairy godmother, how can I ever thank you enough? Her fairy godmother said, well, you can't. But have fun, Cinderella, but I would warn you, return home before midnight, or the spell will be broken, and everything will change back to the way it was before. Cinderella accepted the warning. Meanwhile, at the ball, Princess Toppling was wondering who he should marry. Sophia, Isabella, and Xavier all together, he's walking towards me. But he's not walking towards any of them. Princess Toppling is walking towards Cinderella. May I have this dance? As Princess Toppling, Cinderella responds, I would be delighted. Princess Toppling and Cinderella dance happily together, but later, Cinderella realized it's almost midnight. So she scurried out of the ball, and she was running so fast that she lost both of her glass slippers. Princess Toppling was so worried that he might never see Cinderella again. He then traveled around Toppling hand to find her, and brought the 2 glass slippers with him. By the time he arrives, he knocked on the door of the house where Cinderella, Sophia, Isabella, and Xavier lived. But instead of Cinderella, he finds Sophia, Isabella, and Xavier. Princess Toppling said, ladies, I have a favor to ask. Can you go try on these glass slippers? Sophia is first, but her feet are too big. Isabella is next, but her feet are too small. Xavier was last, but her feet didn't fit either. Suddenly, Princess Toppling notices Cinderella's sweet singing. Cinderella then gets so excited because she's having her Princess Toppling back. And Princess Toppling doesn't have to put the 2 glass slippers back on her feet because they're so uncomfortable. And then Princess Toppling and Cinderella lived happily ever after. The end. Andrew's Drew, you want to see some sequels? Tell your friends about it. And don't forget to subscribe, like, and share and buy our merchandise. Oh, look at that! And if we time it just right, it's 6 minutes and 6 seconds. And now, Anna Everything proudly presents Cinderella. It is based on the story of Cinderella. Once upon a time, there lived a young girl named Cinderella. Cinderella had 5 ugly, mean stepsisters named Sophia, Ella, Veronica, Esme, and Naomi. Sophia, Ella, Veronica, Esme, and Naomi made Cinderella do all the chores. Sweep the floors, wash the dishes, do it all, said Sophia, Ella, Veronica, Esme, and Naomi all together. One day, the king of Sevenville's messengers said, "Hear ye, hear ye! The king of Sevenville is going to throw a ball, and whoever has the most beautiful gown and crown shall marry his son, Prince Septupling." But Cinderella is not welcome. Her stepsisters are Sophia, Ella, Veronica, Esme, and Naomi argue over who will marry Prince Septupling later. Cinderella is so sad that she can't go to the ball and marry Prince Septupling, while her fairy godmother asks her what's wrong by saying, "Why are you crying, Cinderella?" Cinderella responds, I have lots of chores to be done. I can't go to the ball and marry Prince Septupling. Cinderella's fairy godmother said, "I can help with a bit of magic." So she waves her magic wand. Because of that, Cinderella's chores are all done. But Cinderella's godmother is not done yet. She said, "Cinderella, go fetch me a pumpkin." Luckily, Cinderella has 7 pumpkins. Cinderella's fairy godmother waves her magic wand again to turn the 7 pumpkins into a handsome coach drawn by 14 strong horses. And then Cinderella's wear clothes into a gown and crown. Cinderella said, "I've never seen such a septuple-tastic gown. And get a lot of my glass slippers," Cinderella's fairy godmother said. "Have fun, Cinderella, but I would warn you. Return home before midnight, or the spell will be broken, and everyone will change back to the way it was before." Cinderella accepted the warning. Meanwhile, at the ball, Prince Septupling said, "Who should marry me?" Sophia, Ella, Veronica, Esme, and Naomi say all together, "He's walking towards me." But he's not walking towards any of them. He's walking towards Cinderella. Cinderella and Prince Septupling dance happily together. But later, Cinderella realized it's almost midnight, so she scurried out of the ball. And she was running so fast that she lost one of her glass slippers. Prince Septupling was so worried that he might never see Cinderella again. So she traveled around Sevenville to find her and brought the glass slipper with him. He knocked on the door of the home where Cinderella, Sophia, Ella, Veronica, Esme, and Naomi lived. But instead of Cinderella, Prince Septupling finds her 5 ugly, mean stepsisters. He then said, "Ladies, I have a favor to ask. Can any of you try on this glass slipper one by one? Sophia first, but her foot is too big. The rest is the same, but none of their feet fit." Suddenly, Prince Septupling notices Cinderella's sweet slipping. "The glass slipper fits!" Cinderella and Prince Septupling now live happily ever after. The end. I hope you enjoyed this story, Andrew's Doers, and this is the 2835th episode of Andrew Does Everything. Hang on. And now I've been debating on making the Cinderella sequels. I could do that. So, if you want to see Cinderella 2 7 Dreams Come True, maybe I can do it a 7-episode tradition. And all of you, I hope you enjoyed this parody fairy tale about rags to riches. And don't forget to subscribe, like, and share on Andrew Does Everything. And, oh, look at the time. And while Andrew's doers, if we time this video just right, and a few minutes later, wait for it. And if we can time this video just right, maybe I could still do it a 7-episode tradition, by the way. And then this video is 7 minutes. 7 minutes. And take care, Andrew's doers. Bye. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share, and buy our merchandise too. And now, Andrew Does Everything proudly presents Cinderella. It is based on the story of Cinderella. Let's tell you the story, shall we? Once upon a time, there was a young girl named Cinderella. Cinderella had 5 ugly, mean, wicked stepsisters named Eliza, Isabella, Georgia, Hannah, and Tasha. Eliza, Isabella, Georgia, Hannah, and Tasha made Cinderella do all the chores. Sweep the floors, wash the dishes, do it all, said Eliza, Isabella, Georgia, Hannah, and Tasha all together. Then one day, the king of Autonahan's messenger arrives and says, "Hear ye, hear ye! The king of Autonahan is going to throw a ball, and whoever has the most beautiful gown and crown shall marry his son, Prince Autobling." But Cinderella is not welcome. Her stepsisters are. They then argue over who will Prince Autobling marry. Later, Cinderella is so sad that she can't go to the ball and marry Prince Autobling while doing chores. Suddenly, her fairy godmother asks Cinderella what's wrong by saying, "Why are you crying, Cinderella?" Cinderella responds, "I got lots of chores to do, but I can't go to the ball and marry Prince Autobling." Cinderella's fairy godmother said, "I can help with a bit of magic," and waved her magic wand. Because of that, Cinderella's chores are all done, but her fairy godmother is not done yet. She said, "Cinderella, go fetch me a pumpkin." Luckily, Cinderella has a pumpkin. Cinderella's fairy godmother waved her magic wand again to turn the 8 pumpkins into a handsome coach drawn by 16 strong horses, and then Cinderella's rich clothes into a gown and crown. Cinderella said, "I've never seen such an terrific gown. Get a load of my glass slippers." Her fairy godmother said, "Have fun, Cinderella, but I would warn you, return home before midnight, or the spell will be broken and everything will change back to the way it was before. Cinderella accepted the warning. Meanwhile, at the ball, Prince Autumn was wondering who he should marry. Eliza, Isabella, Georgia, Hannah, and Tasha say all together, "He's walking towards me!" But he's not walking towards any of them. He's walking towards Cinderella. Cinderella and Prince Autumn danced happily together. But later, Cinderella realized it's almost midnight, so she scurried out of the ball. And she was running so fast that she lost both her glass slippers. Prince Autumn was so worried that he might never see Cinderella again. So he traveled all around Autumn to find her and brought the 2 glass slippers with him. By the time he arrives, he knocks on the door of the house where Cinderella, Eliza, Isabella, Georgia, Hannah, and Tasha lived. But instead of Cinderella, he finds Eliza, Isabella, Georgia, Hannah, and Tasha. He then says, "Ladies, I have a favor to ask. Can you try on these glass slippers?" Eliza is first, but her foot is too big. Isabella is next, but her foot is too small. The rest did the same, but none of their feet were the right size. Suddenly, Prince Autumn notices Cinderella's sweet saying, "The glass slippers fit!" And Cinderella gets so excited because she's happy to have Prince Autumn back. And they both lived happily ever after. The end. And Andrew Stewards, I hope you enjoyed this story. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share on Andrew Does Everything. And buy our merch and Dice too. Take care. Bye.